Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mainstream Indie Music channel. I welcome all 262 subscribers, and of course all of you guests that check in on this channel. I welcome you as well. I hope you subscribe, but if not, that's okay. Thank you for checking in anyway. This video is a long time in the making. Recently, as maybe you realize, but I came to realize too, it was a year ago this past week that we had started this channel. And there's so many things that I'm grateful for with this channel. And I just quickly wanted to share it with you today. There's not going to be a normal music video this week. I wanted to give you a little backstory into why I created this channel. And it was a year ago, my life had basically fallen apart. A lot of bad things had happened. And I guess I could say it fell apart a little before I started this channel. When I started this channel, it was around the time that I realized I wanted to start doing things that I had always wanted to do, and also I didn't have any money, I was completely broke. And so I also thought, well, I have to do something that I enjoy that's also not going to cost a lot of money. Because also a little backdrop on me, I would love to edit my videos better. There's no question. I notice other videos on YouTube. I notice other music channels on YouTube, for crying out loud, and their editing is way better than mine. But I just work with what I have. On top of that, the other kind of problem is my scheduling. I work 2 jobs, and I kind of even freelance work or contract work a 3rd job. So even my time, I would love to split up, and be able to use more time on this editing aspect of the music channel. But I also kind of took a step back and thought, what do I do? Do I keep thinking of excuses to not start a YouTube channel? I've always wanted to start one. Or do I at least take one step forward and start releasing content on things that I enjoy? And if people want to check out more, they can. If not, I understand. At least let me get the word out there for some of my favorite bands and songs that I want to talk about. And so I started. I released the first video. I released the first shorts. I would get little to no feedback. And I didn't really care. I was like, number one, which I'm going to get into a little bit, is I knew that this was, it's not like I'm talking about popular things on the internet that's happening right now. I know that it's sort of a niche topic to talk about. And number two, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to upload tons of content all the time. And so, maybe YouTube would get me in its algorithm, maybe not. But either way, I just wanted to release the videos. And the best advice that I got were for some of my favorite YouTubers. And it's funny because a lot of their advice about starting the YouTube channel, there was like 5 consistent things that all of them said. And one of the top ones that I always tell myself is they just said, be as consistent as possible. No matter what, like just try to be consistent, release content as consistently as you can. And, maybe your channel will catch on, maybe it won't. And then all of a sudden I started to get subscribers. And again, I didn't even expect that much because I don't release content every day. I release it once a week. And the subscribers started to grow. I remember specifically crossing 25 subscribers. I remember 50 was the big one because I remembered it fluctuated between 49 and 50 forever. And then, of course, 100, 200, so on and so forth. It's the past 6 months in particular have really just been picking up. I don't even want to hide it from y'all. Now we just got over 250 subscribers. We just crossed over 100,000 views, and our watch time for this channel is over 100 hours, which is just absolutely amazing to me. I never thought I would get to this point this quickly. I thought it would take a long time, and that kind of leads me to the second half of this video. It's the topic, what we talk about. Again, like I said before, indie music has not been in the mainstream, kind of a play on words there, but it has not been in the mainstream for a long time, and it never really was very popular. I think of probably the crowning moments of indie music was maybe Bon Iver, winning a Grammy Award. Maybe it was Beck winning a Grammy Award, who I still have yet to talk about on this channel. I still got to talk about him. Maybe it was Arcade Fire kind of getting their nominations as well. There's been a few indie people throughout, the history of music. I think of one person in particular, one group that I really need to talk about. A throwback is David Byrne and the Talking Heads. I kind of think of as kind of the grandfather of indie music. And there's so many more examples as well. But, again, the bands that I talk about, come relatively from when I was young, from the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, a little into the 2010s. And, if you're like me and you listen to indie music, you knew that this was not the music that like your friends were listening to, like nobody was talking about the bands that you were talking about, I and I've talked about this before. I believe in the Silver Sun Pickups video. I remember one thing specifically that caught indie music and kind of gave it a platform was the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games, because it was almost like for the first time you could tell your friends, hey, have you ever checked out this band, which probably wasn't very popular, or maybe it wasn't a very popular song on the video game journey. And, your friend would be like, no. And you'd be like, oh, play it with me. This is an awesome song. Check it out. Before you knew it, you were listening to more and more of their music, showing more and more of their music. Also, adventure video games in general, I kind of think of like Need for Speed and SSX and other video games like that. Even some sports video games started to incorporate some indie music in there. They definitely wouldn't get the whole ensemble. It would just be like a song or two, but they would slowly start to introduce some indie music as well. But, again, it's always been an uphill battle. And that's why I created this channel, because I was very passionate about these music groups, about these songs, that I just feel like they're so much better than pop songs. Whether it's the lyrics behind the indie music song, whether it's the artist behind them, or whether it is the deep, impactful songs, which just means so much more than just, the pop music that's out today. I don't know. I just wanted to give it a platform, and if it caught on, it caught on. And if not, I would at least try it for a while. But here we are 1 year later, and we're gaining so much traction. Moral of the story that I wanted to get out to all of you listeners, just thank you from so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for giving me your precious time, your precious attention. And I am far from done. Like I said, there's tons of bands that I think of that, or I'll hear a song randomly and think like, man, I haven't talked about them yet. There's so much more content. We've barely scratched the surface. But that's all I wanted to say for this week. This is looking back at 1 year in review, and cheers to a second year from now. I'll see you guys then, and more than anything, I'll see you next week for our newest episode.